And it is Mayor Monday. On this Monday, March 14th, we are joined by Charles City Mayor Dean Andrews. Good morning, Dean.
Good morning, Chris. We're a week late, but that's okay. It's still Monday.
It's better late than never.
That's right.
That's right. That's like you mentioned, it's still a Monday. And we got lots to talk about, of course. Let's get started with Park and Rec. They're always busy doing stuff. Getting ready for spring. You got the pool that's going to be opening up. Of course, they're setting goals this time of year, just like the rest of the city. Talk about some of the goals that they're setting. Pretty exciting.
Yeah. Park and Rec is looking at doing like a long-term. They're kind of going through the process of doing long-term strategic planning. It seems like that a lot of times they have all the things, like you say, a lot of things going on, but it's always just kind of like, what's the problem of the day type of a thing with the park board, and and they have to do that. But what they're doing now is they're taking some extra time, some extra meetings just to set a long-term plan as what are their goals for the next 5 years. Because the pool, as you mentioned, that's one of them. They had a company come in last week to talk about our pool is definitely in need of something, and is it still to the point where it can be repaired, or are we looking at a new pool, or just what are the processes there? Wildwood Clubhouse has a lot of foundation problems. It's not in very good shape, and so what do they need to do there? They talked about a skate park before. They talked about an ice skating rink before. So they talk about a lot of these things, and then it seems like you talk about a lot of them, but then you always have to face, what's the problem today? So they're kind of going through a process of setting up a long-term plan so that they can say, okay, in 2 years, we're going to do this, or this year, we're going to focus on this, or whatever. So I think it's a really good process for them. They had been approached by a company to do it, that a company would come in and kind of do that long strategic planning with them. But the cost was about $20,000 to do that. And the Park and Rec Board decided that, they have a limited budget anyway. And they thought that was just, if they spend that much money on a company coming in and working with them, they wouldn't have any money left to spend on any of the projects that they identified. So they kind of decided to do it amongst themselves. I think it's working out. I think it'll work out pretty well. Maybe at some point they may want to go with an outside facilitator, but I think for right now they're just kind of focusing themselves, and I think it's coming up. We'll come up with a good plan as far as what is the year by year goals of the Park and Rec department.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they come up. I know the new pool has been spoke about. Possibility of a new pool has been spoken about several different times. So we wish them luck.
Yes, that's right. It's a lot of, it's one of those things you have a lot of goals, and you have to figure out how you're going to pay for your goals. But that's part of the process too, is the budget for things over a longer period of time. So
wouldn't it be nice to have like a money tree?
Yeah.
No,
because then we'd wish we had 2 money trees. We wish we had 3, and
then they would be growing in the the public areas. And people would be grabbing. So let's go ahead and talk about the Charles City flag. I know that we were in the process of getting one of those started.
It's been a long process. As you remember, it's probably been over a year ago. The Lions did a new flag plaza in Central Park. The other one was kind of showing its age. So they created a really nice plaza up there for the flags, and they put 3 flagpoles, one for the American flag, one for the Iowa flag, and they wanted to have one for the Charles City flag, but we didn't have a Charles City flag. And so working with the Lions Club, Mark Wicks from Chamber and Steve Deers and I have been working with Brad Bailey, who's from the Lions Club, to come up with a Charles City flag. If you remember, some time ago, we had a contest where we had people submit their flag ideas. And then we kind of graded those, I guess you would say, and didn't really pick one flag that people submitted, but kind of took different aspects of different flags that people submitted and kind of put those into one flag. And so we've been working with the designer on that, and it's been kind of a long process. But now here last week, we finally got to the point where we have 4 variations of the Charles City flag, and all of them, if you've seen the city logo that the city uses, it's on all of our vehicles, but it has the silhouette of the pedestrian cable bridge on it, and then it has Charles City orange in it, and it has the blue for the river, and then green for we have a lot of green spaces in Charles City, which we're very proud of. And so it kind of incorporates those 3 colors. And so we kind of use those same colors with the new flag. So all the four options of the new flag all have a similar Charles City logo on it. The cog wheel, which represents, number one, our tractor heritage. Looks like a tractor wheel, but also looks like a cog and all the industry that we have in town. So it's kind of has a dual representation. It also then has that bridge, and it also has the 1854, which is the date of Charles City's incorporation. And then it also is incorporated in that blue, green, and yellow, or excuse me, not yellow, orange into the flag. So next week, there should be a survey monkey online that you can vote on which is your favorite. You can vote for first place and second place. There also will be entries at the chamber office and at the library if you want to vote on a paper copy. And we're also going to go up to maybe some of the service clubs, the Lions, the Rotary, go to the senior center, maybe some places where there's larger groups of people and have just people vote. And then we'll take a tally of what we see. We'll probably give it about a week or 10 days for people to vote and see how everything shapes out. And hopefully we'll have one grand winner when we get there. Hopefully we won't have 4 ties. But that's why, and that's probably why we went with the first choice and the second choice, because if we have several different first choices, but everybody says, well, I like this one first, but I like this one second, and everybody likes the second one, then we can have a consensus there. But we're asking people to only vote once. We don't want to stuff the ballot box, and so we're thinking about maybe even having you put your name on the ballot so that we know who's casting ballots, so we don't get like 20 from Chris Berg saying this is the one I really like.
We'll never do such. So is there any plans to have, I think this would be kind of cool once we get the flag debuted, having a Charles City Day where we display those flags all up and down. Maybe
it'd be cool. The problem with that is we'd have to buy a whole bunch of flags. But it is going to be a fundraiser for Main Street Charles City, because we will have flags for sale. Once this flag has been designed, we'll have the flags for sale. The little garden flags that people have at their homes are, a foot by 12 by 9 inches or something. There'll be items like that. Obviously, we hope to have it done. We're ready for RAGBRAI. Maybe some RAGBRAI people will line up and have one of those smaller Charles City flags as a souvenir of our community. So,
still out.
Yeah.
Which would be a good thing.
Yeah, and then the 4th of July, obviously, we'll make a big push on the 4th of July weekend when a lot of alumni are around and you might want to have a Charles City flag. So I think it's going to be a cool project.
So look for that survey coming up next week.
Next week, yes. It'll go for about 10 days.
Okay, perfect. So this is some news just recently. Omnitel trying to get their fiber internet to Charles City, trying to get the right of way. We talk about that. How is that going, and what's the process?
Well, everybody, if you have a utility, we have a city right of way that has gas or water and sewer and communication, different items in there. But we don't want to get to the point where there's just a hodgepodge of stuff in the right of way that who knows what's where, and different places are going different places. And so Omnitel has kind of asked to come in and use part of the city right of way because they've had some requests to do fiber to different entities. And so they have the right to use our right of way, but we're trying to figure out a way that we can do it in somewhat of an orderly manner. As you know, we've been working for the last couple of years on getting a city utility broadband, but it's been a really slow process because the financing has just not been there. We haven't been able to figure out how to finance that project. And so people are wanting broadband. Now, obviously, we'd like to have them use the Charles City broadband, but if there is no Charles City broadband, we don't want to tell people, well, you can't have good high-speed, internet to your, at this point, mostly businesses. That's the concern we have with, or not the concern, the question we have with Omnitel is, they're going to do it in selective areas. They have a phase 1, a phase 2, and a phase 3, and none of those phases include any places residential. And so we asked them, would it be possible for you guys just to have phase 4, 5, and 6 where you start doing residential areas? And they said that's a big project, and they maybe can do that eventually if we don't have the city broadband. And they could even do it if we did have the city broadband, because we can't tell a utility that you can't come to your town. That's their right to come here. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of working with them to get some order to how they're going to use that right away, and also just for ourselves, so that we have a way that if somebody else comes in and asks to use the right away, we have some rules and regulations and orderly process of doing that. So we'll see how it works. Like I say, they have one of their projects is actually with our Charles City Housing, is doing some new cameras up at Cedar Terrace, the Cedar Terraces, and also up at Morningside, and they need better broadband to do those cameras. And so that's one of the places that the Omnitel has come in and asked if they can use the right way to get to those places so that those facilities they have a grant for some new cameras, and if they can't get that broadband to them, they lose out on that grant for the new cameras. So it's a multifaceted topic for sure.
That's when an easy button would come into play.
Yeah, right.
Hit the button and it's all installed. So let's go ahead and switch gears. Talk about the Union House. The Union House is, people are living in it now.
Yeah, it's nice to drive by and see lights on it there at night, isn't it?
But then there is concerns about parking, especially on Main Street. What's the latest?
Well, like with more people there, obviously, if you're living there, you have to be able to have a place to park your car. And we want to be equitable to the people that are living there, but also to our Charles City businesses on Main Street. We don't want cars parked in front of their businesses all day long. Hopefully, we're done with this problem for now, but street or snow removal is also a problem if you've got cars on the streets. The snow plows go out late at night, early in the morning, actually. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and do a lot of the snow plowing when we have a snowstorm. And so if there's a bunch of cars on the street, they can't plow the streets. And so we're trying to look at a way that we can have parking for everybody, maybe having a limit on the hours of parking, like maybe a 90-minute limit during the daytime when the businesses are open. At nighttime, not having that limit, but also if there is a snow emergency, we would, maybe start to incorporate an snow emergency situation. A lot of cities have, where you have to move your car either to a certain side of the street or off the street during certain hours, so snow plows can work on it. So again, this is a work in progress to see how we can best address this and be, equal to everybody. The long-term plan, and we talked about this when the McQuillan Place was first started to be built, of redoing that parking lot behind the facility between there and the pub, making that whole taking Jackson Street out of there and just eliminating that curve of Jackson Street, which has always been a safety issue anyway, and making that more of a parking area. You could still get through there, similar to what Hy-Vee in front of Hy-Vee and Tyson's. That actually is a street that goes in front of their facilities over there, but people use it more as a parking lot. But if you can just drive through there, well, it would be similar over here behind the Union House, where you could go through there, but it would be you drive up to the pub, make a 90-degree turn, and then go up to Main Street. So, and then the rest of that whole area would be parking. And it's been projected when they first started looking at that would add about 80 parking spaces back there. So that's something we're going to start to really look at. Obviously, nothing's going to happen this summer, but maybe next summer we can look at doing hopefully next summer, doing some changes in that parking area back there to just create a lot more parking spaces and make it, as it is now, people that go to the pub or go to Larry Pump's office over there, you got to cross Jackson Street. There's cars parked there, and it's hard to see what's coming around those corners. In the wintertime, you have to kind of climb over the snow to get there. So it would be a lot better for everybody if we could redo that parking lot back there. But just like everything else, we need that money tree again. All those things cost money. So
I'm sure Steve Muir will find one. So
yeah, that's right. Steve will figure it out.
Everybody's going to find one. It's going to be him. Well, thank you very much, Dean, for joining us this morning with all these updates. Great stuff. And we'll talk to you here. When is the first Monday of April? The 4th. We'll talk to you on April 4th.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much. That was Mayor Dean Andrews here on ECHA, part of Mayor Monday. It's 8:27. We got your weather coming up.
Attention, slow internet stuff.